From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hello and welcome to Around Foxborough, the show where we talk about the people, places, and things that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Mark Rivard, and I am pleased to have as my guest today, Kevin Eagan. Welcome, Kevin.
All right, thanks, Mark.
So we're going to talk a little dentistry, and
That's right.
Please, I've had this pain right here for like the last couple weeks. Can you take a look?
Oh boy, I think I have to clear my schedule.
No root canal, please.
Oh no.
But you work right down the street, Nichols Family Dentistry.
That's right. Yeah. I'm from Foxborough actually. I born and grew up here. Graduated from Foxborough High in 2011, and went to Williams College after that, but came back home on my breaks, and I would shadow Dr. Nichols here on Mechanic Street, trying to decide whether dentistry was the career for me, and he wrote my recommendation letter for dental school, and then went on to Columbia for my doctorate in dentistry and master's in public health. When I come back to Foxborough, I find that Dr. Nichols had built out the office for second dentist, and the timing is perfect. So I'm glad to be back in Foxborough for sure.
I'm glad to have you back.
Oh yeah. But that's one thing I really kind of wanted to express to the community is just how great Foxborough is at supporting the youth, and the mentorship I got from Dr. Nichols is just kind of one example of kind of many adults in this community who really helped me be successful, and this is the beginning of my dental career, but I know I made the right choice to come back to Foxborough, I just hope people continue to believe in the kind of this community, and continue to take part in civic organizations here and support the schools. That the system really works.
Civic organizations like the Foxborough Rotary
That's
Club,
right,
which you are a member.
Absolutely, yep. So I'm an official member of the adult Foxborough Rotary Club as of like 2 months ago. But my start with the Rotary Club was in high school in 2010. That's when the Foxborough Rotary Club started a youth version of a Rotary Club called the Interact Club. We were meeting at the newly built Y down the street here, and I believe I was the first president of the Interact Club. And what was unique about that was it was the only kind of club for high school students in the town that really kind of was open to membership from the public schools, but also the charter schools and a couple other private schools. So I got to meet other teenagers from Foxborough who I didn't interact with in school, and it was a great experience. That was one of my I suppose first experiences with really community service, and I never dropped it since. So then I went on to college. There's a college version of a Rotary Club called Rotaract Club, and so I was involved in that. Allowed me to meet students from many from all over the world who had experience with Rotary clubs in their home countries, and great experience. So when I came back to Foxborough, the first thing I knew I would do was join the Foxborough Rotary Club again, but this time sit with the adults and
move from the kids table up to the adult table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be in it. Oh yeah. So it's a lot. It's the same thing really. We have so many interesting members, and we're really looking to expand our membership too. And so, I'd encourage anyone in town who's interested in being more involved in community affairs in Foxborough to join the club. It's not what it used to be, where the membership was really restricted to professionals. It used to be only restricted to men, but it's those days are long gone.
They all were like that back in the day, because most people know I'm a member of the Foxborough JCs.
Yes, that's
JCs were all men.
Right.
All men until they got smart and brought women in.
Right.
And all the organizations like that. And this is usually where I do my spiel, like, people, if you want to join an organization, okay, There's plenty of them in Foxborough. Foxborough Rotary, Foxborough JCs, Lions,
That's right.
Knights of Columbus. Come on, get involved, people. Okay, that's my spiel.
Exactly. Join any of the clubs. Join all of the clubs.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, really, because the more you get involved in your community, the better it is for the community as well as yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And make lifelong friends.
Absolutely.
Like Jury Love.
Yes,
I think Jury's name in there too.
That's right. Yeah. She kind of has the keys to Foxborough, so to speak.
I think so. Yeah.
But she. We're particularly looking for more younger members in the Rotary Club. It's not just a club for retirees. You know, it really is for everyone to be involved. And again, Rotary has a particular kind of focus on international issues as well as local. But I remember kind of this mantra that we would have in the in public health school. You know, always local is global, global is local, and
It starts local.
You're right, exactly.
And becomes global, and you said it right there. We need more youth in there because the organizations won't last if we don't get any new blood.
Right.
You know, we don't get any younger. We get older. We need new people to step in and take our place when we're gone from this earth. You know, we just got to keep the organizations going, keep the blood flowing, and the good deeds following. You know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think across the board. I know across many organizations, and really it's a kind of a national phenomenon, but there's kind of decreased participation in civic organizations like this. But I think this, this community in particular is kind of has everything they need there. You know, and we're very fortunate in Foxborough to have so many organizations like this. Other towns in the area do not have the level of civic participation that we have, and so again, another reason why I knew coming back here to practice dentistry was the right thing. You know, a community where people kind of really care about improving the community as a whole, and that's very similar to my kind of clinical philosophy as a dentist. With my additional public health education, is that you never just the kind of I guess the kind of status quo in dentistry and in medicine has always been to treat people as kind of individuals, and kind of isolating them in an exam room and kind of see the disease here in this person, what's the treatment. But you have to kind of move away from that and see disease, kind of health issues and health in general as manifests in individuals, but it's also really a community issue, and lots of social determinants that kind of impact the things that I'm seeing, and even in the office here in Foxborough. A lot of people think of public health issues as being something that affects people in a third world country somewhere far away, or it only affects that's for people in other towns, other neighborhoods or something, but it really affects everyone. And even a community like Foxborough, we see some things that you'd be surprised, especially as a dentist. People are good at really hiding the some of the health issues and some of the suffering that's really here in this community. But as a dentist, you see, even working here for a few months, I really see it. And one of my goals here is to not just treat each individual, but that and working at a community level to really kind of raise the standard of health here.
Yeah, and educate. I mean, that's the biggest. Right. That's the biggest problem, right? Is education on health. I mean, Lord knows we've been educated for the last 3 years about COVID. I think we're all scientists and we all know everything there is to know about COVID-19 and this and that. But there's general things every day that we can do to maintain our health. There's general things that a lot of people don't understand, and they need that education, and that's where it usually starts. Education in the schools, education by our medical professionals.
Right.
And that you're willing to come back to Foxborough and do that is great.
Oh yeah.
Homegrown and comes back and.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, that's a chronic issue with public health awareness, especially with regard to oral health, is sometimes the issue is just not as sexy, so to speak, as the other issues that people think of traditionally as life-saving things or big pandemics and stuff. But it's some of the things that affect people the most is periodontal disease and dental caries. But as a dentist as well, we do see a lot of manifestations of kind of other systemic illnesses that kind of first appear in the mouth. But really within the kind of public health institutions and public health schools in particular, there's kind of a lack of interest in oral health, even though it's something that really you can see a lot about a community as a whole just by looking inside the the mouths of the individuals within the community. And so one thing in particular that I've noticed here is when I was at Columbia, I was practicing in New York and seeing a lot of patients in New York. Compared to there, I've noticed a lot of basically like enamel hypomineralization in levels of dental cavities that in individuals that I'm not used to seeing from my training in New York. And growing up here, I always assumed that in suburban Massachusetts that the water is fluoridated, but in Foxborough it's actually not fluoridated. And so I learned that this year. And we have ways to kind of manage that. I spent, as part of my training, I spent 3 days at a county health department in New York State and kind of spent a day with the water and sewer department in that county and kind of understood the economics behind treating the water. I know in Foxborough there's kind of different issues, or there's multiple water systems that makes it very costly not very costly, but more costly than otherwise compared to municipalities that only have a single water system. We have multiple, I believe. But point stands is that we're seeing the effects of this, and the best thing we can do in general is to make sure, especially with regard to children under 8 years old, and really need to be coming in to see a dentist in this town to really get a good evaluation. And oftentimes the toothpastes that they're using and that are available here sometimes just aren't enough in order to prevent the decay. So sometimes something we have to do is prescribe fluoride tablets for some children in order to give an additional supplement as their permanent teeth in particular are developing in their jaw, in order to ensure that they don't have lifelong health issues as a result of kind of a lack of mineral and kind of fluoride content in their in the water, but also just kind of what they're exposed to with the toothbrush. Another thing we do sometimes is we prescribe special toothpaste that have a higher level of fluoride. Sometimes another thing I've been telling patients too is you'll see in the local drugstores, child toothpastes and regular adult toothpastes. For this area, I do recommend that if a child is old enough not to swallow the toothpaste, they should use the adult toothpaste here. The adult toothpaste has a slightly higher fluoride concentration, and the reason for that is child toothpaste is if a child swallows an entire tube when they're not being supervised, they won't have the gastrointestinal toxicity that you would get from swallowing an entire tube of adult toothpaste. So as long as a child can be trusted, not to do that, I recommend using the adult toothpaste. Another thing that I've noticed in this area is the local drugstores sell a lot of toothpaste that don't have any active ingredient, and it's something that's very surprising to see.
Yeah, it is surprising.
Oh yeah, and sometimes there's no health benefit to those at all. Some of them are actually known to be harmful, so I would steer clear from anything other than just the major brands. It's one of those things where there's not too much of this in life, but it's actually the kind of the standard that the cheapest product is actually the one that works the best, not the expensive one that has the fancy label and claiming to have additional benefits, or say it's a non-GMO, organic, fluoride-free, that does not work at all, does not have a health benefit. Charcoal toothpastes actually, we believe, actively kind of abrade the enamel. That's how they whiten teeth, so we do not recommend that. Just stick to the regular toothpaste in a town like this where we don't have fluoridated water.
See, that's a helpful tip right there, folks. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No charge for this one. I'm kidding.
I was going to check my medical insurance. Hang on, let me see. Do I get the copay on this, or
That's right.
this conversation, or what?
Right. No, speaking of that, so that's an important issue. I know, voters here have been kind of, aware of question 2 on the state ballot. I was actually involved in the committee that authored question 2. So I worked directly with the author, Dr. Riskola, and kind of, promoting the issue here, and that was a very interesting process. And I'm glad that Massachusetts voters made the correct decision and saw through the the lies of the dental insurance companies that claiming that costs would go up. Of course, they will not go up, and I can assure people in this town that this measure will save money here. Cost of care is already kind of can be an issue for people, and anything that we can do to reduce the whatever comes out of any out-of-pocket cost for patients is something that I will fight for, and something I did, and I continue to do that. And in other ways, this is just the beginning here for state issue here. So I'm advising some dental organizations in other states as well to have their legislatures pass similar measures, but. It's definitely been an interesting process, but
anytime you put anything on the ballot, it becomes interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people. It was a whole different type of kind of politics that I wasn't familiar with. Used to the politics of getting it's called an initiative petition, and this is a very unusual way to especially compared to other states as well, to get to make a law. This is the way it had to happen because after decades of lawmakers just kind of not having really a strong incentive to create a law like this when there was strong lobbying from the dental insurance companies in the state, and ultimately the dental society couldn't afford to do it, and we just happened to have a benefactor and a dentist who was so passionate about this that he was willing to put his own personal finances on the line in order to get this done.
Wow.
And so it was that was very inspiring to me, and I could never do something like that, but I knew if he could do that, I knew I could use the skills that I have to participate as well. And that's something I will continue to do in this town is anything that I can do to make care more affordable, something that I will do. But for now, I take learning all about from the insurance in Massachusetts from the the dentist standpoint here, and it's very eye-opening to communicate with these dental insurance companies. It's not what people see on the outside. Mm-hmm. It's a very convoluted and kind of a corrupt world, frankly. But
that's politics.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's politics in general.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good introduction to how the system works.
Right.
So so the most important point for me is. How are you going to get kids to stop being afraid of going to the dentist? Actually, let me rephrase that. How do you get adults to stop being afraid to go to the dentist? Right.
And it's actually one of the biggest reasons why people don't go to the dentist. And we have a lot of data on this from the American Dental Association. There's lots of fear of dentists is it's complex. It's not. The thing that I've learned is this is something that I kind of want to consider to be my specialty is really helping patients with various anxieties around going to the dentist. But it's not just one thing. It's many different things for many different people. Some people it's the needles, it's the sounds, it's the kind of various kind of sensory kind of factors that when a dentist. It's fear of pain for some people. Sometimes it's, but it's often the number one thing is actually the fear of cost. That is actually when you break it down. But like I said, we can, working as hard as I can to address it from that angle as well. But that was, sometimes it's fear of aging, it's fear of dying in very indirect ways. As a clinician, I look at each individual person and kind of have a conversation with them feel them out and kind of address it as, each person based on kind of, what the issue is. And, that ranges from, just can get people to relax just by, the way you speak to them and, ensure they're physically comfortable.
Sometimes even actually, I notice it with my dentist too. The way technology is today, you can have easier conversations. Used to be the old x-rays, you bring in the x-ray, you throw it up. Now it just pops up digitally on the screen, and you can talk about what you see. He can tell you everything that he sees or she sees, and you feel more comfortable. I feel more comfortable in a dentist's office. I mean, I've never had a problem with a dentist.
Yes, yeah.
My biggest problem is, I thought when we were going to have this interview that I was going to have my mouth stuffed with cotton, because this is one of the first times, honestly, one of the first times that I've ever spoken to a dentist, had a conversation without something in my mouth, where I could actually talk back to the dentist.
Oh, I know.
That's my only pet peeve about dentists, okay? That's it. That's the only one. But yeah, I mean, the technology is there now where you can make a crown while you're sitting there. You don't have to wait 2 weeks.
Right.
And when I had my crown done, I was like, wow, this is great.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
It's made right there on site.
Oh yeah, and then having especially those monitors, that's key. I mean, and again, fears of the unknown. That's another thing. I find educating patients, empowering patients to kind of make the right decisions there. Dentists have nothing to gain from being, anything less than fully transparent in kind of the way we make decisions, and more. A lot of the technological innovations there allow people to really see kind of what we're doing, and that's it's really something that patients deserve. And I would really encourage, if anything, I really encourage patients to advocate for themselves, whether it's my patients or whether it's anyone in this community sees any dentist. Really kind of speak up, kind of ask questions. Asked, where's the cavity? Can I see this on the X-ray? Could you point that out to me? Why are we doing this? That I love it when patients ask me those kinds of questions, because then I know that a patient is really invested in their health. It's actually, red flag is the opposite. When patients don't ask questions and don't seem interested in what we're doing, then I question the long-term outcomes when patients kind of don't. Recognize the shared responsibility that both they and I have in the outcome. I can with modern technology, we can restore almost anything back to a great smile. But that only works when patients cooperate with good home care and good diet in particular. That's a major thing as well. But dentistry has come a long way from especially when I talk to older adults too. They have all these traumatic experiences from their childhood. Dentistry is just not the way it used to be.
I do miss a couple of things though.
Oh yeah.
One thing I definitely miss. All right, rinse and spit. Hygienically, I understand why they got rid of it and they have the suction now, but I did miss that because I used to practice my spitting into the center of the bowl, things like that.
It's like a game. It's like
it was a game.
It's like a mini game of cornhole or something in the office. But,
but I miss that.
Oh yeah.
But what's funny? I when I was talking and finding out more about you, you play the bagpipe.
Oh yes, yeah. A lot of people in town know me for that. It's a family tradition. My grandfather and my uncle were my first teachers. So I started when I was about 12 years old, and it became a really important part of my life. Music in general, though, I also played the French horn and learned that through school. And the bagpipes, I play a lot of gigs in the area, weddings, funerals, and play at the high school graduation every year for a while, up until when I couldn't, when I was at college, and then with the pandemic. But otherwise, it's some people I find when they come in the office, they're like, oh yeah, you're the bagpiper. But oh yeah, but it definitely really informs the way I think about my career and my life. But one thing, when I was applying to dental schools, there's a personal statement part of the application. You're supposed to answer the question, why do you want to be a dentist? And so this is advice for anyone who's applying to college or to graduate schools or anything like that. If there's a question on an application where everyone else is answering that one question, the last thing you want to do is answer that question. You should do something completely different. So everyone's going to, they're going to get all the same answers if you answer the question why you want to be a dentist. So instead I talked about playing the bagpipes, and it really worked. Right. So, this community has the resources in order to help kids find something unique to do, and I always encourage anyone who kind of wants to interested in joining a profession, or even just kind of getting into the college that you want to get into. Find something unique and pursue that as well. It doesn't have to be directly related to, ultimately your career. That's really the last thing you want to think about, actually. You want
to let people know who you are.
Right.
Everybody's going to get a job and do a job, but there's parts of you that you want them to know about, because that's important. That's what makes you you.
Right, absolutely.
If Kevin Eagan wasn't a bagpipe player, it would be like, okay, well, yeah, he's the dentist, but but he plays the bagpipes too.
Right.
He's the guy.
Right.
And he makes you happy when you're playing too, and it's a family tradition, so you want people to know about it.
Exactly. It's good for personal development too. It's I used to be very shy, and you can't be shy when you're playing like the loudest unamplified instrument, in the world, and wearing this crazy getup. But that was the first thing, when I agreed to take lessons from my grandfather. As I said, I'll do it, but I don't want to wear the kilt. And then, very quickly I realized I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in a kilt. And then, when I started dating women, then I realized,
they like the kilt.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Well, I mean, I can't see a person walking around playing a bagpipe without the traditional attire, because it doesn't work.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't work.
Exactly.
It's like a rock star wearing a three-piece suit.
Right.
Really?
Right. No. Yeah. No. I love putting up, wearing my kilt when I get the opportunity to, and I traded it in for the white coat for a few years, but back in the office here, back in Foxborough, I'm free to, do I want to play the bagpipes more again? I'm back in the suburbs. When I was in New York, it was very hard to play the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Just my neighbors did not appreciate it at all. So actually, one thing I did was I would go down. This is in Washington Heights in Manhattan, and so I would go down to this park just a few blocks away and march back and forth along this fence. And I didn't think I was bothering anyone, but I later came to find out that fence was right along the edge of the New York State Psychiatric Institute, next to the inpatients. And I must have been causing a lot of trouble in there, marching back and forth along those windows. So I learned not to do that anymore. But not before I caused probably a lot of hoopla there in the hospital. But so because of that, I to keep my fingers busy, I also played a bit of Irish tin whistle there, and then from that, my general involvement in music kind of really continued to develop. It all started here at Foxborough. Foxborough schools have a great music program.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
And I learned that it was, it's still a very important part of my life. When I was in college, I was in the Berkshire Symphony Orchestra playing the horn, and then Columbia as the president of the orchestra in the Musicians Guild at the medical school. And I still play a little bit now here. I gotta find the next opportunity, but it's really it kind of gives you kind of a richer experience of life, in addition to actually being really just a fun hobby. A lot of people have a misunderstanding about music that especially from kind of youth education standpoint, that it's just something to do in school, and then you have to be a professional and go to conservatory, or you drop it. That's not the case at all. This is there's with all the available resources to connect with other musicians and things on the internet, it's never been easier to be an amateur musician. And still have a lot of enjoyment out of a career. In fact, I think there's, in some respects, amateur music has some. It can be actually more enjoyable to listen to than sometimes the jaded professionals. I love going to amateur music performances because they have an energy that you just don't hear from someone whose job it is to perform for you. But
that's great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So before we let you go, any specific, if you had one thing to say, advice, health-wise, dentist-wise, I'm giving you the floor. So
okay.
Let us know.
Oh boy, I would say that as a dentist, I think it's I know it can be hard to come into the dentist. I know there's a lot of people in this community who don't have a dentist, and I would encourage you, if not with me, with any dentist in the area, there's please come in for an exam. It's not just about the teeth. It's really dentistry has changed a lot. It's about looking at total health, but kind of through the lens of oral health. And so, if anyone has any questions about that, you can always call my office, or you could come in. But there's it's one of the best things that you can do for your health, for you and for your family. Please, you should see a dentist. That's well, that's what I'll say about that. I know everyone has different, kind of different reasons, different things going on in their lives, but there's definitely some great resources here in this town.
Great.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Kevin Eagan, DDS, right?
That's right. It's a pleasure.
Foxborough Rotarian.
Yes, that's
bagpipe
right.
player. Thank you very much for coming in.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure.
And that'll do it for Around Foxborough. Have yourself a great day.